Hi, my name is Beth, and I am here to introduce myself to you. We are putting together a podcast series. Maybe it'll be interesting, hopefully. I hope it's interesting. We're going to go through a couple of things. I'm going to tell you about my portion of it, and essentially my portion of it is I've never actually figured out how to do makeup. Now I know how to do some basic stuff, right? I've got like eyeliner, mascara. Love the reds. Always kind of been a red lipstick kind of a person. That's always been fantastic. And whenever I go to the dark places, I have like the dark lipsticks. And that's worked out really, really well for me. But one of the things that I haven't figured out is like, I don't know how to do a cat eye. I don't know how to do smoky eyes. I don't know how to do any of those things. And I've taken a class. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. Contouring, I find fascinating. Like, how do I light, dark? What is it that I need to do? I have no idea. And I find it all really intimidating. And here's why. So when I first started to get interested in makeup, it was the 80s. And if you weren't around for the 80s, you probably know like 80s night and the music. You've probably dressed up and you've, high hair and all of that. And that's all really great. But the thing that you don't have to contend with is the fact that there was like 3 shades of orange foundation that were available. And for someone who has pale olive skin, that just didn't work. So I would go to the makeup counter and I would tell them, I'm interested in makeup and I don't know how to find anything that works for my skin. And their response was, we don't have anything for you. And I took it wrong because I was like 14, 15, 16. And I took it as like, it was me, that there was something fundamentally wrong with me. And it turns out it wasn't me. It was just very few people could wear those 3 shades of orange. Like very few people could wear those 3 shades of orange. And so it just didn't work for me. So I kind of went into the 90s and I experimented in terms of different colored eyeliner. So purple sparkle, teal, sparkle in general. And I would do that. And I had like dozens of different kinds of mascara and I did all kinds of stuff. And, I kept the reds because who doesn't love red lipstick? And red lipstick, in fairness, wasn't really popular the entire time. It hasn't been popular for like 50 years. And not like Taylor Swift red, like red, like a dark red, like, I don't know, just red. And so the 90s, that was fun, right? I had a good time with the makeup aspect of things. In general, I enjoyed the 90s too. But then I got to the 2000s and, every decade I kind of like nudge and I try again. And it's when I found MAC. And it was the most amazing thing because I remember going and saying, oh, no one can ever find anything that matches my skin tone. And the makeup artist was like, what? You're not that hard. And she found something. And I was like, what? And it was so exciting. So 2000s. In the 2000s, I got married. I had a baby. I got divorced. So oh my gosh, you mean there's options for me and people can match my skin tone and people acknowledge the fact that there actually exists this pale olive skin tone? Oh my gosh, it was like magic. And it was the magic that I had to let sit there. Because I had other things. Like, I'm not going to try to figure out how to do makeup when I have a toddler, an infant, a toddler, a middle schooler, junior, someone in high school. Well, in high school, like now is about the time. So all the time has passed. My kid is 18. He's graduating from high school. He's going off to college. And I figured, well, now's the time. I can do it. There's enough opportunity out there. There are enough options, and it's time for me to get started. But there's a trick. I also have ADHD. So one of the things that I found with my ADHD is I can get very frustrated if something doesn't work. And so there's a part of me that doesn't necessarily always have the tenacity to try to figure out things like, I just tried 5 different shades of foundation to figure out if I could find the one that works for me. And so the way I'm going to work through this with all of you is through Tanya. So Tanya is a makeup artist, and she knows skin tone. She knows how to do all the contouring. She knows all of it because, quite frankly, the contouring looks so cool and terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Because again, 3 shades of orange, none of them work with this. And now you want me to come up with like how many different shades that's going to work with and complement my skin and contour? No, none of that sounds reasonable. So think of me as the precursor to all of those other accounts where it's like, so here's how you contour. I'm like, so you want to learn how to contour? Here's how you match to your skin type. Here's how you match to at least my skin type. And here is how you get started. So I'm looking to do some of that and how to get started in terms of a smoky eye. Unless I have a palette, I don't know how I'm supposed to mix and match the colors. And I know for a lot of people, that seems super basic. For me, I look at it and I'm like, I don't know. If you tell me it's going to work, we're just going to push through it and see what happens. Now, there's a couple of other things that we need to note. That is that I am into my 5th decade. I think I mentioned that, which means that my skin is a little more textured, seasoned, has more character than it did when I was in my 20s, my teens, my 30s, even my 40s. And I need to do different things to care for my skin than I did when I was younger. Like, quite frankly, when I was like 20 something, I don't know, I probably got like 2 hours of sleep a night, and I would hang out in a smoky bar and until the wee hours, and then I'd wake up and I would go to class or I'd go to work and do homework somewhere in there and maybe take a nap. I was like the queen of the 20-minute nap. And I wasn't really worried about my skin. I wasn't someone who was out in the sun because I have light skin, and while I don't necessarily burn easily, but because I'm pale, I just assume that I'm reflecting light, and that's going to be bad, and skin cancer is not something I want. So the bad part for me was really the fact that I didn't drink enough water. I didn't eat right. I was, and somehow I still ended up with like fantastic skin because I was 20 something. And so I didn't really have to work at it. I never really had acne. I didn't have acne until perimenopause. And then that was a drag because I'm trying to figure out what to do with acne when I'm like 40 something. When I'm like 35, 40, I'm like, what the heck? What's happening here? So I really wanted to kind of talk about that. Like, it's amazing to learn how to do makeup, but how do you do makeup for older skin that works for that? And what are some of the things that you can do to take care of your older skin? So with that in mind, the other thing that we should note is some of the catastrophes that were in the 90s, which is my eyebrows. See, I used to have amazing, lush eyebrows. And so the only care and maintenance that ever occurred was having half of my eyebrows ripped out periodically, only to eventually have them not grow back, which is kind of a bummer. So again, ADHD. I don't have a level of consistency for trying things to see if I can get some of my brow to grow back, or do I just bail? What kind of brow care do I need to do now with the brows that I have? These are things that I'm going to investigate and learn more about. The other thing is I like to buy gadgets and lotions and all kinds of things. I am someone who likes to buy makeup and I look at it and I go, ooh, that's really pretty. And then I kind of like let it go. So probably a lot of it is potentially expired. I don't know how to do that. So we're going to, walk through that. And the other is I have, well, my teenager calls it a Mike Myers mask. It is a red light mask. You sit on your face. I know that's more aliens than Mike Myers. But it does red light, green light, and blue light. And I've had this for a little bit and I'm not consistent. So I figured one of the other things I can do is have here's my skin before, and let's see what happens after a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month of consistent usage. So really, the reason why I want to do this and track it is because I need accountability. I need body doubling, but I don't really have a way to do body doubling except to publicly do body doubling to get myself to stay on track. So that's where we're at, and that's really what we're going to be doing on my end. Now, Tanya, makeup artist, is going to help with all kinds of things. How do you soften features? How do you highlight features? How do you do all the new bright, shiny techniques? Here's the makeup that you have, etc., 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 as well as hopefully being incredibly patient with somebody like me who doesn't necessarily have a lot of patience and is learning how to do makeup as an adult. So those are some of the things that we're going to do over the coming weeks. And hopefully some of you decide to follow along. Hopefully one or two of the things that we do will be interesting. But I figured this is kind of a good introduction. And to get myself in the habit of what I need to do, I'm going to share with you the limited makeup that I'm wearing. So in fairness, I went to my kid's one act tonight and it was very exciting. He did a great job. He was one of the directors and it was really good. So I knew that his play was essentially a teenage Black Widow. And so I wanted to go with something simple and I went with black eyeliner because simple, and I already told you, I don't have any skills. There's no skills. So what I use tonight is my Urban Decay. Yeah. And so I use that from a mascara perspective. And I got this somehow, I don't know, maybe Tanya gave it to me. And it's just very simple, black. And there you go. That is the look on my face. Aside from that, I go pretty fresh-faced and maybe slather some lotion on. The other thing that we're going to be going through is coming up with a routine that is sustainable for somebody like me who isn't very good about consistency. So part of it is I'm hoping that keeping track will encourage that level of consistency. So if you have a hard time doing things consistently as well, follow along. Let's do it together because it's always better when you can do it together. All right. Thank you all. And the next episode will be Tanya doing an introduction of herself. Thank you so much.